Part 25. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 241. Chapter 241 Defects must be reported. This is impossible. How is it possible? It's impossible, the devil said to himself as if he was trying to escape. Fenling curled her lips and said, CMA, as one of the 4 envoys around Yeking Han, you shouldn't participate in this competition. This is the rule. Rules, Jin Mei seemed to have heard a joke. She looked at Fenling and said, speaking of rules, it seems that the Lord didn't follow the rules when he sent you in. Fenling, an ordinary human being, should not participate at all, nor should she know about the existence of people with special abilities. If she said anything, the consequences would be disastrous. The Lord liked her, so he made an exception for her, but she was different. She was a member of the Blood Evil Alliance, so she should also be considered for the Blood Evil Alliance. She will never give in on this matter. Really? I remember that your Blood Demon Alliance has a special case where you can join without passing the newcomer exam. She understood the rules of the Blood Demon Alliance clearly. On the one hand, she already understood it when she was 0, and on the other hand, she knew the rules of the Blood Demon Alliance clearly. When she found out that Yeking Han was the leader of the Blood Evil Alliance, she asked Yeking Han for the rules of the Blood Evil Alliance to make things easier in the future. So, Fenling knew very well that if his ability was recognized by Yeking Han, he could be directly promoted. She believed that Xiaomei knew this very well. Ji Mei was indeed very clear about it, so when Fenling spoke, he showed an even more disdainful expression. Yes, so what? Maybe you want to compare yourself with those elites. No way. If ranked according to ability, she is indeed considered an elite. Fenling thought so. Master Jin Mei, Miss Feng is not an ordinary person. Ling Ai frowned. He didn't want others to question Fenling, so he felt very unhappy when he saw Jin Mei's attitude towards Fenling. So I wanted to defend Fenling. Jin Mei looked at Ling Ai with disdain. You are about to be eliminated, and you still care about my affairs? Ling Ai, you might as well think about how to win with Fenling. However, you can persist until now. It's not easy anymore. How about I help you take her back? Just in time, the two of us also have something to solve. We have something to solve. Fenling raised her eyebrows interestingly. Why didn't I know? Ji Mei said, Fenling, don't pretend to be stupid. How could you not know? She doesn't believe that Fenling doesn't know about her feelings for Yeking Han. Since she knows, she should know that she is the most suitable person for Yeking Han. In this case, she should quit automatically. Why are you still shamelessly staying by Yeking Han's side? It's simply shameless. Fenling couldn't help but smile when she saw what was in Xiaomei's mind. Xiaomei, we are now in modern society. Can you accept your ancient thoughts? Otherwise, people will think you are stupid. Ji Mei, Fenling. Why do you say that to me? As an envoy, I think that if you are around Yeking Han but do not use your ability to understand anyone close to Yeking Han, you are incompetent. Zhen Mei, you are no longer worthy of staying by Yeking Han's side. Fenling's words had completely angered 11 Mei. She raised her hand and wanted to hit Fenling. The attack was fierce, without even considering that Fenling might just be an ordinary user with special abilities. In 11 Mei's heart, it was best for Fenling to die. As long as Fenling dies, then Yeking Han will be hers. However, Xiaomei didn't know that if she hadn't done this just now and was just testing, maybe Fenling would let her go, but now, it's impossible. Fenling has always been a woman who must repay her flaws. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 242. Chapter 242 Betting. Ji Mei looked at Fenling coldly, even with a little ridicule. Fenling, who do you think you are, and why do you decide whether I should stay or go? Haven't you seen it clearly yet? The Lord has not asked me to leave so many times. Do you think your few words will make the Lord drive me away? How much do you think you weigh? How stupid. She doesn't need to say a few words, she only needs to say that if she doesn't like you, you will not stay with me anymore. Suddenly, a familiar voice came over. Let everyone present except Fen Ling tremble. Especially Xiao Mei, who seemed to be frozen, staring blankly at Ye King Han. My lord, your majesty. You don't need to call me lord anymore, I'm not worthy. Ye King Han's voice was extremely cold, as if it was the cold winter of March 9th. It was so cold that it made people feel that their bones were passive and unable to move at all. Lord, you said, you want to drive me away. Zhen Mei, you have violated the rules. Dong Xie came out from behind. This time, he watched with his own eyes as the master's face darkened little by little, then he got up and left the control room, and came here. She has indeed passed. But Lord, you don't understand, she is the woman I like, and she is your future mistress. But she is just an ordinary person. She should not stay, Lord, she is not worthy of you at all. 11 Mei still couldn't believe this fact, and she tried to defend herself. However, what makes Fen Ling funny is that even when she is trying to defend herself, the demon still pulls her into trouble. She shook her head, feeling that Xie Mei had lost her outlook on things. She is with Ye King Han, which means that she and Ye King Han are in love with each other. She completely allows the people of the Blood Evil Alliance to question her heart, but she believes that this is normal and that as long as she stays for a while, everything can be solved. But no, she was not questioning her heart, but directly questioning the possibility of her and Ye King Han being together. In 11 Mei's heart, Ye King Han was directly defined. For 11 Mei, whether this is an idol or a master, Fen Ling feels that she may not have figured it out yet. Ling I has already told you that I am not an ordinary person, I have superpowers. What kind of power? No matter what kind of ability it is, it will level up as soon as it enters. Fen Ling did not register it, so Xiao Mei thought she was lying. Fen Ling curled her lips and said, Assistant Department. Auxiliary system, just such a useless one. Before Jin Mei could say anything, he heard the girl in front of him continue to say, all abilities of the auxiliary system. Boom. Ji Mei's mind immediately went to his head. Are all auxiliary system users with special abilities? How can that be possible? How is this possible? Is this simply impossible? Ji Mei looked at it stupidly. Fen Ling sighed, why are you here? Come to see you, and take her back. By the way, Ye King Han looked at the demon who was talking to himself next to him as if he didn't dare to admit this reality with a gloomy face. He hates people who act without permission, and he also hates people who do things behind his back. Xie Mei is a combination of both. Go back to the punishment room and think about your mistakes while facing the wall. My lord, 11 Mei raised her head, as if she couldn't believe that Ye King Han was really going to throw her into the punishment room. There was. Lord, can you give me one more chance, just once? The evil spirit knelt down and looked at Ye King Han pleadingly. Ye King Han showed no expression and just turned his gaze to Fen Ling, hoping to see what Fen Ling would decide. Fen Ling smiled and said, I can fight with you. If you lose, then from now on, you will stay in the Blood Fiend Alliance and you are not allowed to take a step. Until the matter is over. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 243. Chapter 243 Lost. If I win, then you will leave the Lord. You are not qualified to enter the Blood Fiend Alliance. Jin Mei clenched her fists. She did not believe that Fen Ling, an auxiliary system, would agree to her if he fought alone. Ling smiled and readily agreed, yes, but I won't give you this chance. In other words, the devil will not win. No need to exaggerate now. I will convince you without saying much. 11 May directly attacked Ling. Seeing that Ye King Han didn't stop her, Xiaomei felt happy. It must be that the Lord didn't put much effort into Ling, so he didn't intend to protect her at this time. The Lord is indeed the Lord, and he has always protected them. If Ling heard it, he would probably die from laughter. Why? Because Ye King Han himself is a cold and aloof person. The reason why he didn't stop him was entirely because Ling had that ability. If Ling no longer has the ability to defeat the demons, then all her years of working in the alliance will be in vain. Actually, if possible, Ling would not be willing to enter the Blood Evil Alliance just like this, but because Zero's identity cannot be fully exposed yet. That's why Ling and Ye King Han decided like this. He didn't expect that the devil would slap Ye King Han in the face like this. This is not the real reason why Ye King Han is angry. The real reason is because the person she provoked is Ling, whom Ye King Han cares about. Without Ling, people with special abilities would not be where they are today. They all knew what the situation was like when people with special abilities first appeared, and it was precisely because of Ling's joining that the alliance gradually became regular. It can be said that Ling is the salvation of all people with special abilities. Because for a period of time, people with special abilities were scattered across the country, and there were no formal institutions to restrain them, so strange things happened every day. Later, when they started to be divided into different levels, the situation got much better. However, even so, there will still be people with special abilities whose abilities will be seen by ordinary people and cause panic. Ling, I won't let you go, 11 May said, as if Ling really killed her parents. Ling pursed her lips speechlessly, turned slightly, and then avoided the demon's attack. Ji Mei didn't believe it and shouted, "Come again." Ling turned sideways out of boredom and dodged again. After doing this a few times, 11 May's physical strength disappeared little by little, but Ling seemed to be still in high spirits. I don't know what happened. Ling, what are you hiding from? Xiaomei's patience was gone and he stopped directly to call us. Ling stopped and said with a smile when he was still far away from the demon, "Hide." I didn't hide, I was just walking at my own speed. Next, it's your turn to follow me. After Ling finished speaking, he threw a sharp white light directly at the devil. The speed was very fast and dazzling. Xiaomei closed her eyes subconsciously. When she tried to avoid it, she had already been hit to the ground. On the ground, Xiaomei was in a very shocked mood. Because she understood Ling's situation very well, but just because of this, she was shocked why this kind of thing was not enough. "Xiaomei, you lost in the end." Xiaomei was kicked to the ground by Ling, without giving her any face. "You, let me go, Ling." Ji Mei screamed and struggled hard, but no matter what, she couldn't break free from Ling's restraints. Ling curled her lips and said, "Remember your promise." "I don't like people who don't keep their promises." Ling smiled softly. The laughter was particularly sinister, as if it came from hell, and was very scary. "Monster, this is the fate you deserve." End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 244. Chapter 244 Judgment. Why? This is impossible, how could I lose? This is impossible. Jin Mei looked at Ling and shouted, "You cheated, right? You must have cheated, right? Otherwise, there is no way to explain why Ling knew that the auxiliary system would beat her and the attack system, right? There are many things in this world that are impossible for you to understand, but they really happened." Ling rarely had the patience to tell 11 May, "I can't tell you my identity, but I can only tell you that the things you know now are just childish for me." You. 11 May gritted her teeth and looked at Feng Ling fiercely, as if she wanted to dig a hole into her. Feng Ling shook her head helplessly. To be honest, I know what you are thinking. Don't you just think that I am not worthy? I didn't plan to compete with you because it is meaningless. Even if I succeed, you will not recognize me. So to me, what does this mean? I agreed today purely because of Dongzi and Ling Shuang. Dongxia and Ling Shuang. Ji Mei looked at Feng Ling blankly, as if he didn't quite understand what she said. Feng Ling nodded. Yes, Ling Shuang came out alive. She is smarter than you. Ling Shuang has always been smarter than me. Jin Mei smiled, her expression no longer as intense as before. All she could think about was that Ling Shuang came out, and Ling Shuang came out alive. The moment she saw Ling Shuang, Jin Mei burst into tears. She ran up and hugged Ling Shuang. Ling Shuang, you're out, you're finally out. Well, I'm out, don't be too excited. Ling Shuang smiled and patted her shoulder. Ji Mei shook her head. I won't get excited. She just saw Ling Shuang, so her mood suddenly fluctuated a little, and that was it. Ling Shuang understood her, so she nodded. Okay, you won't be excited. After finishing speaking, she looked at Feng Ling and continued, I can come out this time only because of Miss Feng. If it weren't for her, I wouldn't be able to survive for long. What does your coming out have to do with her? 11 May felt displeased when she saw Feng Ling. In fact, before Ling Shuang came out, Dongxia had discussed the conflict between Feng Ling and Xiao Mei with her, and hoped that if Ling Shuang had the ability, he could reconcile it as much as possible. Ling Shuang was a little sure at first, but after seeing the evil spirit, all her original ideas were overturned and completely rejected. Because, Ling Shuang discovered that there was no longer a conflict between the two people. Is a unilateral misunderstanding of Feng Ling caused by Xiao Mei. Feng Ling, the kid, never liked explanations, so he kept putting it off until now. 11 May, Miss Feng gave me the medicine, so I got through it. She is very powerful, so don't take it too personally, okay? We should not be biased. Ling Shuang's voice was gentle and soft, so Xiao Mei was always willing to listen to it. But this time, when it came to Feng Ling's matter, Xiao Mei didn't want to listen to Ling Shuang. You don't understand, she is a special ability user in the auxiliary system. Think about how many auxiliary systems we have, which one is the same as her? Ji Mei looked at Ye Qinghan and said sadly, my lord, I know you like Feng Ling, but she can't protect you. Only I can protect you personally. Do you really want to sacrifice an envoy for Feng Ling now? Lord, you should also know what the messenger means to you. You shouldn't give up on us just for a woman. She is not just a woman, but you. From now on, take your things and get out of here. From now on, the Blood Evil Alliance will not take you in again. Ye Qinghan made a clean and direct judgment. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 245. Chapter 245 Investigation. Ji Mei couldn't believe that Ye Qinghan would really give up on them because of a woman. However, what she didn't know was that Ye Qinghan never gave up on her, but because of what she did, Ye Qinghan felt chilled. During this process, Ye Qinghan gave Xiao Mei so many opportunities, but she never seized them. Ling Shuang stood aside and looked at Jian anxiously. Xiao Mei, admit your mistake to the Lord. As long as you admit your mistake, there is still a chance for everything. She understood that Feng Ling was not a girl who would accept death. As long as the evil spirit admitted her mistake, there would be room for maneuver. Ling Shuang glanced at Feng Ling and found that she didn't seem to have any intention of saving Xiao Mei. She was very anxious. What had the devil done to make this girl indifferent? I can't, Ling Shuang, you don't understand, she is not worthy of standing beside the Lord. You may not know, the Lord asked her to be our mistress, are you willing to recognize her? I agree, Ling Shuang replied without any hesitation. Ji Mei's eyes widened, as if she couldn't believe Ling Shuang's answer. Ling Shuang, you. In her heart, Ling Shuang has always been her good sister and should not go against her, but now. The reason why the devil is upset is because of doubts. She doesn't understand and can't figure it out. Ling Shuang smiled bitterly, Zhen Mei, you know, it was Miss Feng who gave me the chance to live. Now, I am Miss Feng's person, and then I am the Lord's person. My life belongs to Miss Feng. As long as Miss Feng wants to, she can take it away from me at any time. This is also her choice. She has seen too many things in the Blood Evil Alliance. She knows very well that a girl who can have that kind of potion will definitely not be simple. What's more, Xiaomei couldn't see clearly in the game, but she could see clearly. She knew clearly that this girl not only had great medicine skills, but was also a very powerful user with special abilities. Such a person, no matter what, will definitely not be ordinary, nor will he be ordinary. Ling Shuang continued, it was Miss Feng's medicine that saved me. So you sold yourself? Xiaomei asked in surprise. Ling Shuang shook her head, I didn't sell myself. Miss Feng gave me a choice, life or death. If I live, then from now on I can't have any descent towards the Blood Evil Alliance, otherwise I will die without a burial. If you don't choose her potion, you know that there are so many punishments in the punishment room, and I won't be able to survive. Ling Shuang smiled bitterly and turned to look at Ye King Han, I know very well that my life is not worth mentioning. I made a big mistake and should not have lived. However, I still want to make up for the mistakes I made. Lord, didn't you say before? Death is the simplest thing. I don't want to die so easily. I hope the Lord can give me a chance. Ling Shuang will definitely make up for the mistakes he made. Ling Shuang knelt down and waited quietly for the trial of the man in front of her. She exposed all of herself to the sun. As long as Ye King Han said he would not let her live, then she would obey Ye King Han's wishes and die. If Ye King Han gives her a chance. Is it possible? A trace of hesitation flashed in Ling Shuang's eyes. She knew Ye King Han's character very well. Because she knew it well, she didn't know whether Ye King Han would let her live. However, if she didn't tell Ye King Han that she relied on Feng Ling's medicine to survive, then, she would feel guilty about Ye King Han. However, what surprised Ling Shuang was that the man in front of her didn't seem to care and waved his hand. Since Ling Ling thinks that your crime is not worthy of death, then you will stay and take the position of a demon. From now on, stay with Ling Ling, and I will let Dongzi examine you. If you fail, you know what will happen. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 246. Chapter 246. That year. Ling Shuang trembled, then nodded solemnly, my lord, Ling Shuang understands. Please rest assured, Lord, Ling Shuang will definitely protect Miss Feng Ling and not hold her back. Actually, it can be seen from the battle between Miss Feng Ling and Xiaomei just now that with Miss Feng Ling's strength, she does not seem to need her protection. However, since the Lord has said so, then she will just be Miss Feng Ling's right-hand man. Feng Ling glanced at Ling Shuang with satisfaction, get up. Yes, Miss Feng Ling. Shuang stood up and stood behind Feng Ling, then looked at 11 Mei with a complicated look in her eyes. She just tried to help Xiaomei, but obviously, Xiaomei could no longer hear what anyone said. Ling Shuang. You betrayed me. Ji Mei looked at Ling Shuang, feeling cold in her heart. Ling Shuang is obviously her friend, but now, behind Feng Ling, she says she wants to protect Feng Ling? Why? Why? Feng Ling smiled and said, she didn't betray you, and no one betrayed you, Xiaomei. It was you who had to let yourself go into a dead end. From the very beginning, I knew your feelings for Yeking Han, but I didn't say anything. I thought that as one of Yeking Han's envoys, you should be able to handle your emotional problems well. However, I didn't expect that not only did you fail to handle it well, but you also wanted to take my life. As a person, what I hate most is when others threaten my life. Do you understand? So what? Unless you prove to me that you are better than me, why should I admit that you are my mistress? 11 May raised her head proudly. As Yeking Han's envoy, she has her own. The heart is proud. Fen Ling shook her head. Okay, I didn't want to say it at first, but in this case, it's better to make it clear now. Fen Ling, codename is Zero. I used to work in the Alliance and was the brain of the Alliance. Now I changed my job, so I came to the Blood Evil Alliance. However, because I didn't want to be spread, I never used the identity of Zero, but I never thought that I would always being questioned. Actually, I also thought about whether some people would be dissatisfied if I came directly, but Yeking Han told me that some of you had been directly recruited by him before, but no one questioned it. So, now I want to ask, is this because I am a woman or because I am too young, or because I have a face that makes me weak? Fen Ling looked at Yeking Han. This was what she wanted to ask Yeking Han. If she had known that there were so many things, she would have said them a long time ago. Now, going around in circles and not having to say them, she was really tired. Yeking Han touched his nose and said, Xin Chen was about the same age as you when he came in, and no one of them refuted it. The age of their Blood Evil Alliance is generally young. Xin Chen is similar to Fen Ling in other aspects except gender. Therefore, Yeking Han naturally thinks that there will be no impact. However, he never expected that it would not affect him. There is a ghost. The jealousy of women towards women is the strongest. Fen Ling twitched her mouth, so it means she is unlucky? Really are. Zhenmei was stunned at the scene, with only the word Zero in his mind. Fen Ling is actually Zero? That legendary alliance midbrain? She had an impression that she was there when Fen Ling was captured by the Blood Evil Alliance. However, because Fen Ling wore a mask and the Blood Evil Alliance was not so shameless to see people's faces, they never knew about Ling Chang. What does it look like? The reason why she remembered Ling was because Ling stayed in their punishment room for a week, and then still had the energy to punish their master, and the two of them were in a mess. Later, no one in the Blood Evil Alliance dared to mention the word Zero for a long time, and no one even dared to mention it in the Alliance of Special Ability Users. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 247. Chapter 247 Relaxation. Western Poison. Yes, Lord. Take her down and follow the rules. The rules of the Blood Evil Alliance are that if Yeking Han personally invites you out, you will be punished for 3 days and 3 nights. Then he will be thrown out of the Blood Demon League. After that, his special abilities will be abolished and he can only be an ordinary person from now on. Furthermore, the Blood Evil Alliance has a special medicine. If you take it and say something about people with special abilities in the future, you will die on the spot the moment the thought appears. This is also the reason why the people of the Blood Evil Alliance dare to let out those who do not follow the rules. This. Zidu hesitated for a few seconds, then nodded. Zidu obeys the order. My lord, she still couldn't believe that Yeking Han would treat her like this, but now, even though she kept calling Yeking Han, she didn't get any response from him. Ling Shuang looked at the fate of his good sister, pursed her lips, and turned away. She knew very well that the demons were her sisters, but they had heavy responsibilities and should not be trapped by the love between children. As for the evil spirits, it is only their own fault. You guys go and have a rest first, then continue. Yeking Han said. Dongzi and Zidu nodded and left. Yeking Han looked at Fen Ling and said, I have something to tell you. Fen Ling glanced at Ling Ai and Huaquan, you continue, I'll go over first. Okay, Miss Fan Ling. I and Huaquan looked at each other and nodded in agreement. What's going on? Fan Ling put her hands in her pockets and looked at Ye Qinghan leisurely. Are you unhappy? Ye Qinghan asked. The evil spirits came again and again, and now they almost killed Fan Ling. If Fan Ling's ability was not higher than that of the evil spirits, the consequences would be disastrous. And all this is the result of his connivance. Ye Qinghan suddenly regretted not cleaning up the monster earlier. He looked at the girl in front of him. Even though she was crawling around in the jungle, her face was still extremely white, and she didn't look like those rough guys at all. Fan Ling chuckled softly, Ye Qinghan, are you sure you are a little girl? Don't forget, I am from the Alliance, how can I not protect myself? I am not angry. Really, Ye Qinghan was a little nervous. After confirming with Fan Ling again and again, I breathed a sigh of relief. Fan Ling shook her head and said, actually, I know very well what 11 May is thinking. It was clear from the beginning that she likes you, but there are many people in this world who like you, just like there are many people who like me. It's impossible for me to change those people's minds, that would be really tiring. As long as your heart remains unchanged and my heart remains unchanged, then no one will come into our gap and destroy our relationship. What do you think? Same. Ye Qinghan nodded and relaxed. Fan Ling held Ye Qinghan's arm, although, you were quite annoying when I first met you, but after thinking about it seriously during this time, I don't seem to hate you as much as I did at the beginning. So, you said the deadline can be cancelled. Ye Qinghan, from now on, you are my man, Fan Ling. From now on, no matter what the situation, I will fight with you. Remember, your girlfriend is not weak. Ye Qinghan never thought that he would be recognized by Fan Ling so quickly. He was so happy that he almost jumped up. The man hugged Fan Ling tightly. Okay, I know, my girlfriend is the most powerful in the world. From now on, no matter what happens, whether life or death, Fan Ling, you will not be able to escape. Don't blame me for being cold, it's because my possessiveness is too strong, but Fan Ling, I don't regret it. Fan Ling felt the warmth in the man's arms and smiled softly, very relaxedly. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 248. Chapter 248. Isn't it against your will? Hee, Fan Ling. Fan Ling received a phone call from Ye Limo early in the morning. She gritted her teeth and picked up the phone. What's the matter? Ye Limo, you'd better pray that your matter is worth making this call, otherwise, you won't want to know the consequences. Ye Limo's little body trembled. Ling Ling was really fierce in the morning, she was so scared. With fear in her heart, Ye Limo's mouth was as sweet as honey. Hee, Ling Ling, isn't this the weekend? We finally have 3 days off during the holiday, why don't we go play script killing? One was just opened recently, and it has a city limited version. Everyone said that the scenes in the script are particularly realistic, and there are scene restorations and simulations. Some of them are just like haunted houses. Let's go have some fun, okay? It's up to you, send it to me when the time comes. Fan Ling would not refuse Ye Limo's request unless it was weird, so she agreed this time. She has also heard of script killing. It is just like Ming Detective, where several people play together and find the real murderer under the leadership of a detective. Although she has never played with it, she has seen how to play with it. Although Fan Ling is not interested, it is Ye Limo's birthday soon. If the little girl wants to play, just go with her to play. In addition to Ye Limo and Fan Ling, Fu Su also came together. The remaining ones were all unknown to Fan Ling, but they were all good friends of Ye Limo. Gao Fei, Han Suexiu, Den Yi. Several of them are senior high school students, so they cherish this hard-won rest day. Ling Ling, I see you again. Ye Limo rushed towards Fan Ling when she saw her. The little face is flushed and very cute. Fu Su looked at Feng Ling with his hands folded, but his eyes were on Ye Limo vaguely. Feng Ling didn't care. Why does Mr. Fu have time to play with this? I'm bored, so I'm here. Fu Su's eyes were a little wandering, and Feng Ling looked at them, always feeling that something was not right. Just like that, it was quite unlike Fu Su. Fu Su would not play this game because he was bored, which he thought was only for children. Tisk, 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 this kid is a bit strange. Are you the legendary boss Feng? Gao Fei looked at Feng Ling with shining eyes, as if she were a rare animal. Feng Ling twitched her mouth. Why did she feel like this little brat was looking at her as a gem that could be sold? It's strange, but what he said is not wrong. It's me, what's wrong? She really is a goddess. Gao Fei jumped up happily, without feeling any embarrassment, and flew directly to Feng Ling's side. Goddess, you know, I admire you very much. What on earth do you do? How can you get such a high score without studying? Is there some magic? Can you teach me? Stop our old man from always saying that even a pig is smarter than me. Feng Ling. She felt that the little kid's father was right. Looking at his innocent appearance, Feng Ling was really embarrassed to say that it was because she had already received doctorates from several universities, so she was not at the same level as them, but she was afraid to say it out loud, as it would be too offensive to a child. After all, the children will soon have to take the college entrance examination. This is a really difficult question. Feng Ling patted the child on the shoulder solemnly. Actually, you don't know, I have been studying when I am not at school, but you can't see it. At school, I didn't go out to play. Didn't I just listen to the lectures all the time? If you don't believe me, ask Ye Limo. Ye Limo. Boss, as a person who reads novels in class, don't you say this against your will? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 249. Chapter 249 Goddess. Really? I didn't even know that the goddess worked so hard at home. I thought the goddess was really so smart since she was born. I thought too much. But don't worry, goddess, I won't let you down. I will definitely change my ways and study hard from now on, and I will definitely take the 985/211 test for you to see. Gao Fei said in high spirits. Feng Ling actually wanted to say that she would not be disappointed even if he failed to get into school. Whether he studied hard or not had nothing to do with her. Whether he passed 985/211 or not had a greater influence on his parents. Bar. How could she be disappointed? You won't be disappointed, not at all, okay. However, looking at the child's bright eyes, Feng Ling still couldn't bear to deny him and nodded. Okay, I'll wait for you to take the 985/211 exam. Don't worry, goddess, let's go in and play now. I've already agreed on the script this time with the store manager. It's absolutely thrilling. Gao Fei, don't choose something too scary. I'm scared. Han Suexu's heart trembled when she heard Gao Fei say this. She is timid and is most afraid of this kind of script. Why did Gao Fei choose this kind of script this time? She was so frightened last time that she could not recover for a long time. Gao Fei waved his hand and said, Han Suexu, don't be too timid. Courage requires practice. Once you get used to it, you won't feel scared anymore. Really? Han Suexu still feels a little unconvinced. What should I do? Okay, let's go in. Gao Fei seemed to want to skip this topic. The next second, he jumped to Feng Ling's side and said with a smile, Goddess, don't worry, if you are afraid later, I can protect you anytime and anywhere. Feng Ling. Can she now reasonably suspect that Gao Fei chose the script because he wanted to stage a romance novel TV series? Fen Ling twitched her lips and said, "Don't worry, I'm very brave. When she is scared, it is best not to have this group of people around her, because she is afraid of being accidentally injured." Yelamo looked at Gao Fei's useless look and wanted to slap him. But after thinking about it, forget it, she had to maintain her image in front of Fusu. Fusu, on the other hand, grabbed Gao Fei's ears and dragged him away. "Gao Fei, what have you been thinking about all day?" "Alas, Fusu, what are you doing? I didn't think anything of it, you are wrongly accusing me." Fusu sneered, "Only 1/3 of an acre of your land, I don't know what you are thinking. However, Gao Fei, let me tell you, Fen Ling's safety depends on me. What's more, with your little arms and legs, you can't even defeat Fen Ling and you still want to protect her. My goddess can fight. Crowd, should this be your focus? Don't you think there's something wrong with your mind?" But Gao Fei didn't feel anything was wrong at all, and looked at Fen Ling with dull eyes. "Goddess, you are so awesome, can you teach me? I want to learn too." No, Fen Ling refused. Gao Fei's face drooped. "Why, goddess, do you not like me?" "Because it is a unique skill and cannot be taught. The main reason is that even if she teaches it, they can't use it. She needs special abilities, and Gao Fei and the others are just ordinary people." However, Fen Ling had no way to tell Gao Fei and the others about this. In short, just have an excuse to block this little guy back. Fen Ling looked at Ye Limo, wanting to tell her to leave, but found that her mood seemed to fluctuate slightly. "What's wrong?" "No, it's nothing." Ye Limo shook her head, then smiled. "Ling Ling, let's go in." Ye Fen Ling glanced at her and then walked in. End of this chapter. The max level boss is too cruel. Author, Fire Otter. Chapter 250. Chapter 250 Ghost. In fact, she seemed to have noticed that Ye Limo and Fusu were a little abnormal, but Fen Ling was also surprised. Ye Limo's personality and Fusu's personality were completely different. These two people were originally they should have very little social contact, but now they are secretly expressing their love for each other? It's just surprising, but now it seems that Fusu hasn't confessed to Ye Limo yet, so Ye Limo now feels that she has unrequited love, and she was a little sad just now. "What a little girl." Fen Ling looked at Ye Limo, who was walking in front of her, pretending that everything was normal, and shook her head helplessly. "Who is she? How could you not see that something was wrong with this little girl?" However, when the child grew up, he actually knew that he and mommy were hiding their feelings. Maybe he thought that dating was not allowed in school. However, she is a very tolerant and considerate mom, so it is absolutely no problem for her little girl to fall in love. As long as Fusu is not a scumbag. If he is a scumbag, she will definitely cut him into pieces while the little girl is not paying attention. Fen Ling looked at Fusu and shot a few times with the knife. As Fusu was walking, he felt that someone was hostile to him. Fusu touched the back of his head innocently. What's going on? Someone is hostile to him before this has even started? Can it still get better? Their script is about a world where humanity has been wiped out, in which people kill each other in order to survive. And they are the only 5 people alive in the whole world. There is no detective in this script, all 5 people have evil intentions. The character Fen Ling drew was Mi Shui. This character has had no parents since she was a child, only one half-brother Mi Sheng. My brother has always been very kind to Michelle. He has kept Michelle in the house alone since she was a child. Her brother will help her with all the food, drinks, and diarrhea. Michelle has never left home since she was a child, and she doesn't even know what the world looks like, so when the world changes later, Michelle doesn't know either. When she came out, she was the most accepting of the world among the 5 of them. The deceased was Zhen Mo, the shopkeeper who took them in. At the moment, it seems that it has nothing to do with any of them. Then let's introduce ourselves first and then collect evidence, Gao Fei said as a person who has played the game many times. Well, let's go, Ye Limo smiled and walked to Feng Ling's side. Lingling, can we go together? I'll accompany you. Fu Su had no excuse to go with Ye Limo. When he saw Ye Limo and Feng Ling together, he naturally subconsciously wanted to use Feng Ling to go with Ye Limo. Feng Ling sneered at Fu Su's shameless operation. If you have the ability, just take your future girlfriend there by yourself. Although, Feng Ling still didn't say anything. It was left to these two men to have evil intentions. Fu Su had better pray that he treats her little girl well in the end, otherwise, Feng Ling glanced at Fu Su coldly. Fu Su always felt that his little ancestor was wrong today and always shot cold arrows at him, but after thinking about it carefully, it seemed that he had not done anything to offend his little ancestor recently. Fu Su looked at Feng Ling in confusion, and then managed to get a roll of his eyes from her. Fu Su. Several people entered separately. At the same time, there were people playing next door, as if they were playing the same game. The scream was quite miserable, at least to Feng Ling's ears. She wondered, is this thing so scary? Ah, goddess, help, help. Just as Feng Ling finished thinking, he heard Goofy Ghost running to Feng Ling's side and pointing to the distance. Ghost, there is a ghost. End of this chapter.